You're live. Oh, I'm live. It always catches me out. Become a bit more professional, John. I don't think that would be a good idea. Right, here we are. Here we are again. Been a while. I tend to wait till I get inspired by something. And then I procrastinate. People would call it laziness, but it goes further than that. That's procrastination. That's rather apt. American Irish type tinge to his accent and his, and he was well presented. He usually got upset and the attention of the chair, the secretary, Jenny. And what, is that allowed? And am I missing the point? And then turns out to be his girlfriend, and she's giving her this, what keeps me sober might not keep you sober. What keeps most people sober? Bearing in mind I've taken a lot of people through this programme. Not because I'm in a great right path, because you're on their path, and you've agreed that you want that I suppose I disagree with, and I've got different views on certain things. But there's no space for it in the rooms, because fundamentally we're dealing with newcomers. So it's okay for me to be 25 years down the line, but I need to be able to talk as if there's a newcomer in the room. And if everybody else is on the same plane, to meeting and didn't get anything from it, I'd be surprised. Full of fear. Fear is a healthy thing, you know. You don't. When you walk into a darkened room, you kind of, whoa, wait a minute, I can't see what's going on here. So there's an element of fear, and the survival instinct based in fear as well. And most people have problems. Most people have the black sheep, the black sheep of the family. I would think most people have more than one black sheep, depending on what a black sheep or an alcoholic or a drug. Yeah, there's a bit of tosser, but he's a good football player. And yeah, he was okay. People who had a problem with me turned out, in reflection, I just didn't know that until step 4 and 5 took me on this spiritual journey, this inspirational journey. It made me very vulnerable. I was a wind-up merchant. They would wind me up. Let's wind John up and see where he goes with this one. And it's really quite sad when step 4 took me. When he shared initially steps 1 and 2, you don't know if you're powerless and you need a power. So they suggest that up at the end of the chapter 4. When you want to stop, can you? No. When you start, can you control the amount you drink? Guarantee when you finish. Well, can you admit? I'm not even asking you to accept. Can you admit that that's powerlessness? Yeah, it's kind of hard to. Wow. Some nasty, spiteful people. Nasty. Big book thumper. Step Nazi. I don't know what kind of program they're practicing. Trevor said something that I had an awakening. He sent round a collection for, and she spent the money on a holiday for us. It's supposed to be for a headstone. I think Margaret later arranged to put a headstone up. She spent the money on a holiday for us. It's supposed to be for a headstone. I think Margaret later arranged to put a headstone up. She tracked it down. Why she bothered, I don't know. Fucking difference it made. And that's her business. So this was a widow with 5 kids. I mean, Millen was saying you've never had it so good. Didn't live in our house. And things started to come in for bedwetting. That bed. But see, that wasn't good enough for Amelia. She then got hooked up with this guy who was a friend of her friend's husband. So she ended up hooking up with him and ended up pregnant. Imagine it. 5 fucking kids. A widow, struggling to make way on a widow's pension, and she goes and gets pregnant. According to my sister Margaret, it seems she had a few backstreet abortions as well. So this was a seriously fucked up woman. Seriously fucked up woman. And we were the victims of her decisions, of lack of decision. And she was responsible. And she didn't like me. She didn't think I was only a child. Oh. Really is quite painful. I'm a very brave little soul. And I don't even know if it's recording properly. But there you go. I'm sober there. And I don't know if he's sober now. Don't know. But that's come back 20 years. Through 10 and 11. I eventually learned that. I thought I'd arrived after 4 or 5. Yeah, no problem. And I was too busy for step 10. I remember the man saying, "You were never too busy for drinking, John." Whoa. And it's complete rubbish as well, I discovered. Because I reckoned it was me. This old. I just loved it. Sorry, I can't because of my back. And yet, I was playing football until I was 64, which obviously didn't help my back, but I loved it. I loved it. And that was another lesson in human nature as well. See, I could never fit in amongst groups. I could never fit in. And I always remember that football stuff because I met guys who really identified with where I was at. And mine's not a troublemaker at all. It's just the other ones who can't handle it. So there's a few people who, if I walked down the high street and saw them, they would. And he was one of the guys who didn't like me at first. And I love that. I just love that. And Glenn Thurlow his name was. It wasn't Furlow, it was Thurlow. He's a backman. They used to borrow money off each other. She'd get a pension on a Tuesday and lend her some money, saving the knowledge of coming the weekend when he paid his, when her husband paid her, she would then able to pay my mother. My mother could then live from the weekend to the Tuesday pension day. That's part of friendship. And I was able to do that as well because I started becoming assertive. Yeah, I like the way you dealt with those people. And I used the fourth and whimpering and snivelling in the corner to just launch that. I learned that in AA as well. Some of the aggressive people have this graceful behaviour of their mother and breaking up the ways. Why did she even put up with him? Why did she get married to him? Well, first off, because of me. So she'd sneak off with her pal and go off shagging. All right, okay. And then go off with her sister as well. And she still doesn't see anything wrong with that. And interestingly enough, my first wife, who I've spoken to, her sister likes me. She saw something in me. And from her dysfunctional background, because they were dysfunctional as well. Wow, you can imagine what that was all about. He was deaf, so she always had to shout, "Daddy, Daddy!" It's a good way to start the day. This is Christmas Eve. Yeah, this is Christmas Eve. I can't be bothered at all. All it did was bring up painful memories as a child. And poor woman couldn't afford it. Well, she treated me bad. Hopefully it was paid back enough to come Christmas, the following Christmas, which it never was. So they cut down the amount they would lend her. And just a horrible, horrible existence. Nobody helped her. Nobody. She didn't know how to help herself. And within a couple of years, she'd had another. She was pregnant with twins. So that was 7 kids. It's just horrific. And If it hadn't been for the magic drug, Valium, she'd probably have talked herself. It seems she tried it quite a few times. According to my elder sister, my late elder sister. Nobody told me, which is fine. This is what happens in these extreme situations. I wonder how extreme they were. Yeah, pretty extreme. Pretty extreme. To be fair, pretty extreme. We have this program, and it's a program of inspiration. It's a program that helps you understand. Programs concerned can be cross-referenced in the book, so safe place there. You think about